they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning. It's Friday, November 1st, 2024, and welcome to episode 797 of the Lost Project Morning Show, where the coffee's strong, the opinions are stronger, and everything is always filter-free. I'm Brian, your host, and today I'm enjoying another wonderful French press of Silver Bullet Blend from foodforestfarms.com, where you get 10% off, but with discount code LOTS10, LOTS10. Use the code, get 10%, and the shipping is always free. While you're there, check out C4 Club. You're definitely going to want to pop over and grab some of this Silver Bullet Blend before it's gone. Limited time. Once the beans are gone, and we don't know if they'll be getting more. So check it out today. Get those orders in for Christmas. Coffee makes a great gift. We're into November. That means Christmas is right around the corner. Swing on over. Get your orders done now. Brian will ship them out right at Christmas time. No problem. Easy peasy. All your Christmas shopping done. Who doesn't like an awesome cup of coffee to start their day right there on that vacation between Christmas and New Year's? So order up some coffee today. Think about joining. Think about purchasing a C4 Club for someone that you love too. That's the gift that keeps on giving. Remember those old Jelly of the Month clubs? This is better. For sure. It caffeinates you on top. So anyway, today we're going to be talking about speed limits, terminal velocity of poo, Lake Nyos disaster that we didn't cover yesterday, and a little bit more. It's Friday. I got question for you down the line of conspiracy. It doesn't have to do with Bitcoin. It doesn't have to do with the ducks, but I have a little bit of a little question about conspiracy. I guess it would be down the conspiracy lane since it's Friday, and I didn't have enough conspiracy to do the whole show, but we'll stop in there for just a touch. First, let's head on over into the live chat, see who's hanging out in the coffee crew. Good morning, Pip in early, way early, 3:47. Good morning, humans, and happy day that ends in the letter Y. Mike's Homestead stopping in. Good morning, Mike. Thanks for being here. Hunter, hey, the Lots Project Morning Show. Good morning, everyone. Hunter says good morning. Jillian Robbins, good morning from the Bare Bones Butcher. They let you use your phone? They let you sign in? That was nice. Well, good morning, Jill. How you doing? Hope those boys are treating you right. And if they're not, beat the shit out of them, would you? Give old Joe a smack for me, would you? I don't think if somebody requests that you hit your boss, if it's actually a fireable offense. Good morning, Take the Ride. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Rewilder Life says, I'm confused where I'm supposed to go. You can go anywhere you want as long as you're listening. I just fired them all up. We're going to do 2 weeks streaming to both channels, give the people that watch on the main channel plenty enough time to realize what's going on. And then it's going to go dark. It will. I won't live stream to the old one. I'll have a vertical feed and a main feed on the new channel, and that's it. So, if one morning you go where you want to go and there's nothing there, that's a sign that you were at the wrong place, I guess. Take the Ride says, I like coincidence theories. Good morning, Canadian Farmstead from the real feed. Oh, God. Which one's the real feed? Oh, boy. Wilder says, I can only find this and the vertical. I see that it's got you got your membership check, so it must be the full one. Interesting, because the vertical one is going to the new channel also. Hunter giving the terminal velocity of a turd formula. He's preparing for the terminal velocity discussion. He's all excited because I said poo. how's everybody's night? Got a question. The new segment we rolled out yesterday. Everybody was upset that they made the wrong decision. Telling me in the middle of the night, I'm trying to go to bed, and they're like screaming at me that I need to change the ducks because Bitcoin is down like 1%. Now it's down 0.18%. Anyway, it's a big decision today. We thought the decision was big yesterday when we were deciding whether we change the ducks or keep the ducks. And it was only going to be 24 hours. I was going to be back. Jill's definitely smacked Joe. Nice. Give him some love from me. It only affected 24 hours. Today's decision, though, sets the ducks for, was that 48 hours till Monday? No, 24, 48, 36 hours. Change the ducks up for 36 hours. If shit goes extremely sideways, we're talking like 5+% change down, only down. We might convene a very short episode of the Lots Project Morning Show on Saturday or Sunday just to evaluate the ducks, but it would have to be extreme fluctuations, 5+, maybe 8+%. Pip still has a theory that the ducks are stealing his 10mm sockets. I don't know about ducks because I hadn't ever really messed with ducks, and I had plenty of those things disappear. Canadian Farmstead says 36. Is that freedom units hours in a day? Well, if we switch them right now, 6 a.m. on Saturday would be 24. Oh, and daylight savings. We got 24 till tomorrow morning. We got 48 till Sunday morning. And then we got another 24, 72. So, yeah, half freedom units. Good morning, Courtney Baker over on the vertical feed. Thanks for stopping in. I always appreciate seeing your screen name. How many hours till Monday? Should we change the ducks? Anyway, guys, we got $70,074, $70074. We got our purple mini duck holding strong, the mini duck, and then we got punk rock. I don't know. He's almost like a cock duck, a rooster duck. He's got a mohawk, which could either be a comb, like a rooster comb, or he's just wearing the hairstyle, wearing the mohawk. I'm not sure, but he's got a brown body. I don't know. Is that a jacket he's wearing? Regardless, who Courtney Baker says, I always appreciate hearing your voice so early in the morning. Should I call you for breakfast or should I just tap you on the shoulder? Oh, use that this weekend, gentlemen. You'll definitely pick up a chick. Take the Ride says, I don't know the duck lore. What's their origin story? When a while back, Mr. Pippin was in the development of a product with some friends of his. Let me see if I can find one here that's not on a duck. It's called the Duction Cup. So the Jeep thing, do you know, Take the Ride, do you know the Jeep and the rubber ducky thing, the mini rubber ducks, and they stick them on each other's door handles and shit, and it's this big thing in the Jeep community, those weirdos. So they would just throw them on their dashes and they would bounce all over and everything. And so Pip and his team, Pip was part of the team. Pip and the team, they came up with these boards that attached to that you could retrofit the dash of your Jeep with, and then they had these duction cups, which are suction cups for your duck. See, you jump to conclusions. Duction cups, they go in the hole in the bottom of the duck. So we got a superhero, a Wonder Woman duck, she duck or whatever we're gonna call her. We're gonna violate her right here on live morning show. So duck swimming along. Somebody says like, oh, that I want to put that duck on my friend's Jeep. And so they put it on the they put it on the door handle, and then they put it on the dash, and she just flies all over the place. And like, could be a flying object. It could be dangerous inside the Jeep. And so you take the duck and you find the duck's hole, and then you take the cup and you take the peg and you peg the duck. Sorry, I couldn't do it reverse. You put the duction cup on the duck, and then you can stick it to the board. And for a long time, he's way over here. For a long time, I had my friend Plugsy the pig duck. He's covered in coffee. He's brown like he's a pig pen duck. Because he was on the side of my coffee cup for months. We called him Plugsy. And so we did a little collaboration and things with the ducks, and so the ducks are around. Pip brought hundreds of ducks to SRF, and I came home with a bunch. And if this segment works, then I'm sure I can wrangle Pip into sending me some more specialty ducks to try out on top of the Bitcoin. Canadian Farm says nice little office space quote in there. I'm glad someone caught it. I know Corey was in the back just chuckling like, you dumbass. Hunter said I should have given her the old Hawk Tua before I violated that duck. Jamie says, I'm so glad I didn't have to work early this morning. My life is now complete after that duck story. I'm glad I could help. Canadian Farstead is upset. He's gonna leave the coffee crew, I think. He says, look at him toying with the ducks like our financial futures don't depend on it. I was demonstrating. So Shira duck or super duck, or like, she's got a mask on. Sorry about that light, guys. It really reflects off these ducks. She's got like a mask on where she might actually be a bad, like a villain duck. Like maybe she was like Catwoman. Because Catwoman was, although she was hot in that leather suit, she was a bad person. She was a bad guy that Batman fought. So maybe this duck is a bad duck, and that's why we had to insert the duction cup. Naughty duck. She's not even in play in the Bitcoin conversation quite yet. So anyway, we got a big decision to make. So before the end of the show, drop in whether you think we should change the ducks today. And don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up, guys. Because if you guys fuck it up and I have to figure out how to do an emergency show this weekend because the bottom's falling out of Bitcoin, it's all your faults. It's all your fault. And I'll expect sats in return. Canadian Farmstead says definitely switch. We're down 0.1% from yesterday. Definitely switch. Definitely. We cannot be staying idle. Jesus. Oh, well, we'll keep an eye out. We got one vote for vote for switch it. We got one vote for switch. Canadian Farmstead sees red and he's upset now. Anyway, let's get to some of these topics. I've been using Facebook a little bit, guys. I have to confess, I've been using Facebook a little bit. I have been using it for. I got a dog hair right here, and it's stuck, I think, in my hat, and it's like waving in between my eyes. I can't do it. Sorry, guys. Fucking dogs. So I've been using Facebook. Canadian Farm says, of course you have, you're old. I've been using it to well, one thing is I'm going to use it to promote the new podcast that comes out on Monday. And while I've been on there, I've been finding stories for the show and things like that as we kind of transition into some fun stories like we've done this week. I hope you've enjoyed the new kind of vibe where we're looking at just odd, weird stories and things like that. I've been finding some of those on Facebook. I jumped into a couple of groups where they share share news stories. Canadian Farmstead says I'm hanging out with everybody's grandma on there too. I mean, gilfs are a thing. Gilfs are a thing. If you Google that, gilfs near you, GILFS near you, Canadian Farmstead, you'll be happy you do that. Definitely do that. So I was on Facebook and I was checking in on, hey, good morning, Chris Dixon. Thanks for stopping in. He says, get a cat. You'll appreciate dogs even more. Outside cats only for me. We won't do inside cat ever again. But I stopped over at the Lots Project page where I share the show daily. And that's about it. I don't get there very much. Pip says, and Gilfs had bad hips and can't run away too quick. What's the difference between necrophilia and pedophilia? couple weeks. Or a bad fall. A mild case of dehydration. Who knows? Anyway, so I stopped in at the Lots Project Facebook group page. I don't even know what it's fucking called. Basically, when I go there under my profile and I go to post the show, it gives me the option to send it to my other pages that I manage. So I never really actually go and log in on that side. I had like a gazillion notifications. I get the notifications through my personal profile, but they're like all logged still over there. So that was fun. But I was like, oh, I wonder what kind of feed I have over here. So I remember when I first set it up, it didn't know what to show me. It showed me all sorts of other stuff. My Path to Fire. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for stopping in. And 69, zappity zap zap. Appreciate that. Hope you're doing well today on this beautiful Friday. So I was curious what it would still show me, like if it acclimated to my personal data or what the deal was. So I was scrolling through the feed and I remembered that I joined this Camden, Tennessee group where SOE is, where SRF is. It's kind of I would say it's one of the areas that's close enough that I could deliver products to if I was to if I was to want to sell mushroom logs, say, I could probably go as far as Camden. It's like an hour. Have other things I could do there and go. There is that fucker. Other things I could do there, go and get groceries on the trip or something like that. So I joined these Camden groups. I joined the local area Facebook groups on there as advertising potential. Well, turns out that the Camden group is almost as fun as the local Saltillo groups here with all the political stuff. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what'll happen after the election with the Facebook groups. They're pretty hot and heavy right now, arguing over where they can put their signs, how close you can put the signs to the front door of the polling place, and all this shit in the local group. I was just going to check out what was going on in the Camden group, and I was confused. First big post I see is, hey, so-and-so, hey, John Smith, that was me that passed you on the double yellow line out on the highway. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And it had like 90 comments. And I'm like, huh. Interesting. Who are these people? They must be like the local townies that always post so they can call each other out by name, or they're local celebrities, or I don't know what the deal was. But I jumped into the comments, and it posed an interesting question. So the backstory that I kind of got through the Facebook comments was that the gentleman that got passed was driving down a 2-lane highway, which there's a lot of them here in Tennessee. And it appears that he may have been going 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. That this gentleman is known to drive slow, that everybody knows him, everybody knows of him, and he goes 5 miles under the speed limit, whatever. Which is, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. I mean, every town has some, and I might be that guy at some points. Like a lot of the time, Corey and I go back and forth. She says I drive like a madman around here in Tennessee, and I'm like, I barely go the speed limit most of the times. She says I go too fast around the curves with the dogs in the truck and her. She white knuckles at most places we drive because I take the curves too fast. But anyway, I'm reading the comments, and these people are absolutely enraged. Not at the guy that passed on a double line, endangering people, because that's an area that you're not supposed to pass in for a reason, usually for visibility or surrounding businesses, or I mean, I'm not a big guy on the state and all, but you know, usually when there's a double line where you're not supposed to pass, there's a reason for it. And also, Chris Dixon says you got to slow down on them curves. Oh, she doesn't complain about that when I'm fast on those curves. She just can't wait to get me. Wait, which curves are you talking about, Chris? And so they're outraged. This guy drives 5 below the speed limit. And I keep reading these questions. Now, for the folks watching live in the comments, when I say that the speed limit on a road is 60 miles an hour, what does that mean to you? Does that mean that's the maximum speed limit, or does that mean that it's the minimum speed limit? Because I know on a lot of highways, especially federal highways and larger thoroughfares, they'll have a speed limit and then a minimum speed. But I'm talking about the sign that's on the side of the road that just says speed limit 60. Is that a minimum or is that a maximum? Canadian Farmstead says, what's that in real speed? Over at Nostra, it says it means you can get fined if you go over. So that would be a maximum speed limit. Chris Dixon is curious what a mile in an hour is. It's like a kilometer in a Timmy's coffee. You gotta drive 17 kilometers in a small Timmy's coffee. Pip says 60 means 60 speed limit means some pencil pusher lowered it from 80 so cops can write tickets. That's not the question in that's being posed, though. I'm not saying is it correct. I'm not saying is it not a fundraising. I'm just purely asking the question, with the speed limit sign on the side of the road saying speed limit 60, is that the maximum speed you should go or the minimum? Canadian Farmstead says, yeah, because counting by tens is the weird measuring. What if you have to do less than 10? Good morning, Seattle. Good morning, Seattle. It's 4:20. You slept in a little bit. You're feeling a little extra rested. Blaze it. Just fire it up. So the overwhelming tone in the comments in this post were that he was in violation of the law by driving 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. They literally were saying that the posted road speed limit was the minimum speed that people are required to go. Canadian Farmstead says that's the maximum. The minimum is whatever the road pirates deem unsafe. Correct. And we're not going down that. We're not talking about that. I'm only talking about the intent of the sign and your understanding of it. Pip says 60 is the max you can go in an idle driving environment. If it's raining, snowing, it's required for drivers to go slower. Okay. And over on Noster, it says I think it's pretty standard that it's the speed max and 20 below is unsafe. And that's always what I was under the assumption, that you don't get pulled over, like you're in a 60 mile an hour zone and you get pulled over and you're going like 78 and you're like, well, officer, I'm 18 above the minimum speed limit. Like, these people are screaming about the fact that this guy was going below the minimum speed limit. They were complaining that they couldn't get to work on time. They were complaining because they want to come home and take their boots off after work. It's especially egregious. They say they didn't use that big word. They said it's really, really bad when it's before work and after work and you're clogging the roads. Jamie says, I mean, it's in the title, limit. Well, and that's where I had to give him some grace. Because a limit could be a maximum, it could be a cap or a floor, it could be a maximum or a minimum. It could be the minimum speed limit. You're limited to drive at least this amount of speed. Off-Grid Pig says, when you're driving a vehicle, you start from a standstill. Therefore, it's a maximum if you started moving at 60. Well, I understand this, and you understand this, and most normal people understand it. But I guess the meth heads in fucking Camden, Tennessee, feel that it's a minimum speed limit, and that they're within their citizen duty to scream at people that are going under the minimum speed limit. Pip says there's a special place in hell for people who drive slow in the fast lanes, and that's very understandable too. If there is a lane dedicated for people moving slower than the rest of traffic, they should adhere to that. I don't think it's considerate, but if it's a 2-lane road and the gentleman feels that is the safe operating speed of his vehicle, it is what it is. Sorry. Maybe you should have left for work like 71 seconds earlier, because the difference between going 45 and 50 doesn't get you very far. Over at Nasser, it says that nobody thought to Google the local laws with screenshots. That would be too much work. They would rather just bitch and cry about each other driving around there and making random local Facebook posts about passing each other on the highway on a double yellow. I was captivated by the fucking sheer idiocy in these comments. And unfortunately, I got hooked into the group and started rolling into the comments of other posts. I think this town is perfect. This town here and all their little political shenanigans and the yard art and all the drama here in this little town, way better than Camden. Chris Dixon, somebody should get him a red triangle for his truck. Good prank, and then he's legal. I mean, I don't think he gives a fuck, really. From the sounds of the comments, he really don't give a fuck. He just goes and he drives where he wants to drive, as fast as he wants or slow as he wants. Good morning, Seattle says it'll get you 5 miles in an hour. Sure will. So if you're driving from one edge of Camden to the other, which is a total of maybe a 20-minute drive, it's going to save you what, like 92 seconds. Canadian Farms says those people can vote, but will they? Oh. Yeah, you definitely should not admit to a crime on Facebook. So, yeah, definitely going to be dropping in. I have to limit my time. It'll be like a drug addiction. I'll have to monitor my usage, but the comments in these fucking posts in this group are gold. They're absolutely fucking gold. And the posts in there, anywhere from so they have a community a little community pantry thing, and it's not just food. Basically people drop shit off for people that in need, kind of like a little community food bank, but it's for all sorts of stuff like toothbrushes and toilet paper and books, and like I see the list of people shit they drop off, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. But like, there's people that'll go to Walmart and go shopping and then come and drop it off there. Well, it appears that people have been stealing shit. Weird. Like scamming the system. Can't believe it. And so somebody decided they were going to do their shopping, and they dropped the stuff up, and then they sat there and they watched, and they're like, somebody came and took all the stuff. There should be a law against this. And I'm like, you literally bought a bunch of stuff and left it there for anybody to take that they wanted to. And then you were mad because somebody come and took it all and sold it. Just like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? So I'll keep an eye. See if we can find any other good stories out of that. Another thing I came up with the other day, an interesting mind exercise. Revisited the Dull Men's group on Facebook. Some of my favorite posts that I run across while I'm over there is in the Dull Men's Club. Really, if you're frequenting Facebook and you haven't checked out the Dull Men's Club, definitely do it. There's several copies. There's several different versions. They all seem to be pretty good, but find the one with the most members in it and hop in. Guy was I believe it was the Space Needle. Is it called the CN Tower now? The Space Needle out there in Seattle, Brian, is that called the CN Tower? I believe that's what the picture was on the post, but basically the sign Canadian Farmstead says he thinks that voting might decrease your IQ. Every time you pull the ballot, you lose a couple points. Oh, it's the CN Tower. Okay, the CN Tower is in Toronto. I didn't know if they renamed the Space Needle the CN Tower. Okay, so the dude was in Toronto, and they were talking miles per hour. If he was in Toronto, I gotta call bullshit on this. Anyway, dude was in a tower. They look similar, don't they? The CN and the Space Needle. They're like long, big tower. They look like a kind of like a mushroom or a penis or something like that. They got the long, skinny shaft and the bulbous head. Anyway, hey, thanks for that zap. I appreciate that over there on Noster. Thank you, sir. Canadian Farmstead says ours is bigger, and that's pretty impressive since it's colder there. Oh yeah, Brian was talking about the weed he made called Space Needle, and they shut him down, cease and desist on his weed production, or at least naming his weed after the Space Needle. Anyway, the guy was up in the CN Tower, I believe, and there was a picture on the floor he was on. Canadian Farm says the CN Tower is a couple feet taller in the summer. So the guy was up on there, and it appears that when you're on each floor, it shows you a diagram on the Space Needle, like you're here, and it tells you the elevation. And so the gentleman was there working, and he had to take a potty break. And so, as a lot of people do, as he was taking a load off and sitting there enjoying his what he called a bio break, he was taking a shit. He was contemplating if there's a pipe that goes straight down. He was at 1,500 feet. Is that 1,500 feet? That's a long ways up there. How tall is that fucking tower? Did this guy bullshit this whole experiment? He was sitting on the toilet wondering how they control a turd in the pipe falling from the floor 1,500 feet above the ground, how they slow it down. If it's dropping down the pipe, wouldn't it be like it would be at a terminal velocity for a turd by the time it hit the ground? And I understand that there's measures to prevent this. Like, I wasn't like, oh my god, I wonder how they do that. Like piping and emaceration, they make it into liquid, and like there's plenty of ways to vent it and reroute piping. Chris Dixon says they can control turds by giving them Facebook. But it made me start to think. What if you could do like a turd drop? Like, could this be a like an attraction where you had like a tower? Because it turns out the guy did the math while he was sitting there. I don't know if he didn't have enough bran or he didn't have his coffee yet or what the deal was, but he had long enough to sit there and figure out that he was at the right elevation that his turd would hit terminal velocity as it got to the ground, depending on the height of the toilet seat and the height of his butthole above the toilet seat, whether he was hovering, whether he was like right on the seat. He was within a couple of feet difference of it being right at the height that his turd would need to reach terminal velocity of 70 some miles an hour. I think the numbers are all jumbled in my head. They were not converting. He wasn't talking meters per maple syrup or anything like that. He was talking miles per hour. He might have been an American contractor in Canada. I don't know. I did not dive into his credentials, but he basically said you got to be 1,500 feet in the air. So if we could set up an attraction where we have a 1,500 foot tower, maybe 1,510 feet, with a toilet bowl on the top, but no water. It's just like an outhouse. So it's just a toilet seat on a stool. Stool, get it? And clear shit pipes. Chris Dixon says clear shit pipes for science, you know. Yeah. This is just a cylinder. And we see what happens. Like, you go up the tower, maybe you pay a small entry fee to climb the tower. We have a mechanism to give you a little privacy while you're on the toilet. But as the turd is starting to fall from your anus, you hit a button and it sounds an alarm to clear the area, like fire in the hole, and everybody gathers around and sees the turd hit the ground. Good morning, Seattle says closer to 130, I think. 130 what? 130 feet? It was like 4 seconds. Like 4.5 seconds for a turd to hit terminal velocity. So with the acceleration of the turd from 0 as it leaves the balloon knot, and the balloon knot cinches back together, approximately, I think it was 4.5 seconds for that turd to reach terminal velocity. And doing the calculations, I think it rolled out to 130 miles an hour. Yeah. But is that for a turd? Chris Dixon says, I think Uranus is more than 1,500 feet away. From you right at the moment, it is. With you being in Alberta, that's way more than 1,500 feet. Good morning, Seattle says 13 meters per second squared. Over in Noster, we say small fee for the lift to go up 100 floors. I'm not climbing all that. Yeah, that's what the entrance fee is for the elevator. If you want to climb up, but there is no place to stop and drop your load. So either you have to be very good at timing your walk and your exercise to get up there, or you might have to wait at the top for a while to drop your load. I used to remember all this fucking physics shit. And chemistry numbers, standards, like a mole. Do you know what a mole is in chemistry? Good morning. Seattle says 13 feet per second squared is the velocity of a human falling. Turd should go faster. Why would you say a turd would go faster? Depending on the shape of the turd and the consistency. Canadian Farmstead with a typical Canadian joke. You can fit 36 of our moons in Uranus, 37 if you relax. Oh, oh, oh. So, I don't know. Is this a community project? Is this something that I don't think we have the infrastructure to do it at Delinquent Scully. But maybe, just maybe, we could find somebody that wants to put a poo tower in their town. Maybe a town that's headed downhill. Maybe a town that needs some tourism. The Great Poo Tower, the Great Poo Drop. Pip says, so what happens when you have diarrhea or the shits? It'll just spray out when it gets close to the ground. We got to make the drop zone large enough that even liquid falls like rain. we got an interesting question. Is that tall enough to have the Coriolis effect? Are we the Coriolis effect? Isn't that where we move as something drops it and the Earth rotates underneath it? Good morning, Seattle says we could call it the Adventures of Pooh, Pooh. Canadian Farmstead suggests maybe we should reach out to Red Bull. He says sounds like a Red Bull event. We should reach out to Red Bull. He says he could hear it now. Felix will now poop from space. prepare the hatch. Oh man, I think we come up with a winner. I don't have time for this. Who wants to be the salesman for the poo tower? We'll brainstorm a good name and marketing campaign for everything. I think you could be like the guy from the guy that's selling the monorail, Trouble in River City. What is the Music Man? Is that the musical, The Music Man? Where he goes around and sells the shit to the towns. We could go around and sell poo towers. You could have the tallest poo tower in the United States. And then we could go right across the border and be like, you could have the tallest poo tower in Canada. 71 meters. You get a maple cookie. Oh, poo. Oh, poo. Question came up in my brain yesterday. Aren't you all excited? Anyway, we got one vote for changing the ducks. Anybody else got an opinion on whether we keep the ducks the same, or we change them up and have to wait out until Monday morning? It could be a bumpy ride over the weekend if we change them up and shit goes sideways. We've been seeing a positive or at least a negative small number on the current ducks. So I don't know. Let me know. We got about 15-20 minutes ish left of the show. So well, ducks have changed. The ducks have failed us change them. That's a two votes for changing them. 2 votes for changing them. So I had a thought Well, I read a comment on a post, and it made me think. It made me think. we we've talked about the Mandela effect. It's Friday, so we got to talk a little conspiracy theory. We've talked about the Mandela effect, and we've talked several of them, like the fruit of the loom thing. There's several others that are escaping me right now, but the one in question, it was about Shazam and Kazam, with Shaq and Sinbad, and whether it existed. The one with Sinbad. And people are like, "Oh, Sinbad says he never did that." Da 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 da. And other people were like, "Oh, Sinbad was hooked on crack at that period, and he was all strung out, and he wanted it to disappear. That's why he says it never happened." And he's come out later and said that it actually happened. And so the Mandela effect, if you don't know what it is, it's like things you remember from the past. Noster, I watched it. Right. I mean, you think you watched it. Dixon says superstition isn't real. Move the ducks. That's 3 votes. If we don't start getting any more keep it votes, we're going to be moving them here before the end of the show. Anyway, I'm not here whether to argue if Shazam and Kazam were both movies, if Sinbad dressed up in a genie costume like Shaq, whatever happened. Good morning, Seattle says JD was on Rogan yesterday. JD, who's JD? John Dowie, Jack Daniels, Jimmy Durante. I don't know who's JD. I know who Joe Rogan is. That's JR. Well, I was looking at the comments, and people are arguing back and forth and blah blah blah. I had Jane Doe. Mike Sumstead said Jane Doe. Jane Doe number 1. Wasn't she the one from Roe versus Wade? Good morning, Seattle says Trump's running mate. Oh, okay. I thought that was JV. Isn't his last name like Vance or some shit? Oh, JD Vance. Got it. I told you guys. Okay. People say I don't talk. I claim I don't talk about politics. I talk about them. I don't give a fuck about them. That's 2 different things. Now, Canadian Farmstead's combing through previous footage saying, "Oh, with me quoting, I don't talk about politics." Here, I will make the final statement. I don't give a fuck about it. It's going to be what it's going to be. I can make fun of it and talk about it and be confused by it all I want. And ooh, wasn't he gonna talk about the executive vacuum? Wasn't he gonna talk to her? Anyway, one of the comments in the Shazam Kazam thread got me thinking. So my Mandela effect kind of theory and where I had been coming from and thinking of it was the whole CERN, dimension, alternate dimensions, parallel universes, that we're skipping dimensions and things are going missing. Shit like that. That if it is a thing, that it is a phenomenon, a natural phenomenon. Well, not natural. I guess if we're causing it, it's not necessarily natural. But as I would watch stories about DMT and people experiencing alternate realities and things like that, it kind of made sense that this is a possibility that the Mandela effect is just, you know, it's quantum physics. It's parallel universes, shit like that. So I had never really thought much more about it than that. And I feel like I neglected myself because someone commented, good morning, Seattle. He's letting me know why the human vacuum wouldn't go on Rogan. Got it. That's another thing. I will tell you, I have never listened. I've listened to clips. I've listened to excerpts. I've listened to segments. I have never hit play on an episode of Joe Rogan. Like pulled up an episode on a podcast player and hit go. I've just sorry guys. Sorry. But there was a comment in this Mandela effect story that made me feel like I missed something. Maybe it's the Mandela effect. The person brought up the point that the Mandela effect is a government psyop. And I was like, I never even thought of it. I feel bad. I feel bad. I had always gone the natural or the accidental. Or like I thought that maybe it was caused on purpose, but it was CERN. It was all this fucking with particles and shit like that. This person proposed that the Mandela effect is done on purpose. It literally is a thing, and they're doing it in preparation for something else. They're doing it to convince the public that their memories are shit. They're doing it to convince the public that what you think you remember isn't really true, even when you can prove it. That's bullshit. They're getting people to question themselves so that in the future they can just say, yeah, you fucking remembered wrong. Remember when you said that thing about the cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom? Yeah, you're fucking crazy. Oh, yeah. The Nazis didn't kill all those Jews. This is what they were proposing, that they literally will be able to just rewrite history because they've done the prep work of already confusing the public on what they actually remember. I like the alter. Pip says we were never at war with Eurasia. History scrubbers, yeah. Good morning, Seattle says training to not trust yourself. Evil. Yeah, and I was like, why hadn't I heard of this before? Why hadn't I, as much conspiracy shit as I see, as much Mandela effect as I see, I never really saw anybody blatantly come out and say that it's a psyop by the government to prepare for scrubbing of history. I had always followed the thread that it was a dimensional thing, that it was actually happening, that it wasn't just a ploy. So I don't know. Yesterday I mentioned Lake Nyos, and asked if anybody had understood or anybody knew what Lake Nyos disaster was. And we'll hit that up and then we'll wrap up here for the day. Oh no, my balance is below 500 sats. Please top up or use this link. I don't think I need to do that until Monday. But anyway, we'll ride with it. over on Noster, over on Zap.stream, if you're watching and shit goes away, it's because I didn't pay my tab. Shit. So Lake Nyos disaster. I came across this and I was like, holy shit, what a spooky fucking thing. What an odd thing to happen. Lake Nyos, I have to believe it's Nyos. It's Nyos. It's here, I'll just read a little of the story here. On August 21st, 1986, a limnic eruption at Lake Nyos in northwest Cameroon killed 1,746 people and 3,500 livestock. The eruption triggered the sudden. Thanks for paying another 500 sats, man. It won't auto populate into the account. I gotta actually go in and pay it. But Zap.stream, if you could literally make it so that the Zap. I wonder if it's because I have it go to a separate wallet. It might be my bad. I appreciate the other Zap. I appreciate it. I got plenty to get through the rest of the show. But anyway, so the eruption triggered a sudden release of about 100,000 to 300,000 tons of carbon dioxide. The gas cloud initially rose at nearly 100 kilometers per hour. That's actually 62 miles per hour or 28 meters per second for any of you non-normal people. Oh, wait. And then, being heavier than air, descended on nearby villages, suffocating people and livestock within 25 kilometers or 16 miles of the lake. 16 fucking miles. What's 16 miles from you? Like, if you were... Chris Dixon says that's 62 in cheeseburgers. If you were standing at your place and you drew a circle 16 miles around you, what's there? Do you know what's there? Do you know, is there... are there factories? Are there chemical plants? Are there sewage treatment plants? We kind of went down this road with the Helene flooding. What's upstream of you? If you were to draw a 16-mile radius circle around you, do you know what's there? Is there a lake? Because one day the lake could just fucking explode with a bunch of fucking carbon dioxide, and you die. You're just sitting there. Hey, I'm just sitting here doing the morning show, and go to sleep, suffocate from carbon dioxide I didn't even know was coming. A degassing system has since been installed at the lake with the aim of reducing the concentration of CO2 in the waters and therefore the risk of further eruptions, along with the Lake Manoon disaster 2 years earlier. It is one of the only 2 recorded limnic eruptions in history. So it's happened twice in all of history. In all of the history that we know. In all of the history that we wrote down. In all of the history that hasn't been changed. How many... Guys, I think we just solved Jonestown. They didn't drink Kool-Aid. There was a limnic explosion close. And they all were just hanging around, having a party. They happened to be drinking Kool-Aid, and the CO2 gas descended on them from a limnic explosion, and they all just died. They suffocated. It wasn't poison Kool-Aid. Let's rewrite history. Let's rewrite the accurate history of Jim Jones in Jonestown. It wasn't a mass suicide. The earth killed them. – What triggered the catastrophic outgassing is not known. Most geologists suspect a landslide, but some believe that a small volcanic eruption may have occurred on the bed of the lake. A third possibility is that the cool rainwater falling on the side of the lake triggered the overturn. Others still believe that there was a small earthquake, but because witnesses did not report feeling any tremors on the morning of the disaster, what if they were within 16 miles? What if the tremors only went 16 miles? Chris Dixon says he thought a limerick was a poem of sorts. Oh, I used to know some good limericks. I have to look them up again. The event resulted in the supersaturated deep water rapidly mixing with the upper layers of the lake, where the reduced pressure allowed the stored CO2 to effervesce out of solution. It's believed that about 1.2 cubic kilometers of gas was released. For anybody else, that's 4.2 times 10 to the 10th cubic feet of CO2 gas. Oh, here comes a limerick. I like to go swimming with bow-legged women and swim between their legs. Mike's Homestead drops. There once was a girl named Dot. Guys, if you want to write a limerick and send it to morningshow@thelotsproject.com, we might read the winners on air. You can also send stories you want me to talk about to that email address, morning show at thelotsproject.com. So I'm just kind of tripped out by this, how we can have something like this happen. Literally, these people were just enjoying their day within 16 miles of a lake, just hanging out, doing their normal daily shit, and then they're on the ground dead. Because the fucking lake burped. Literally, the lake burped and killed 1,700 people and 3,500 livestock. But the cow farts are making the earth fucking warm up. Oh, it's a crazy world we live in. I wonder if it was an execution by the Cameroonian government. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Thanks, Chris. Got to change the ducks. Got to change the ducks. I think we're gonna go with an elephant duck. I'm not exactly sure how an elephant and a duck get crossed, but we'll replace mini purple duck with elephant duck, and we'll go complete furries, and we'll do a teddy bear duck too. I believe these ducks might be wearing costumes. That one looks pretty. This one at least has a different colored face, where it could be a costume. This guy's got a gray face, so I really think that this is a mutant duck. But we're going to go with teddy bear duck and an elephant duck, and hopefully Bitcoin responds in kind, and that light turns green at some point during the day, and throughout the weekend it goes to the fucking moon, and I can retire, and we can come in and laugh at this show where we used to throw sats at each other, and now our sats are just like, we're like Scrooge McDuck, and we're throwing fucking $500 bills at each other. All of us, except the ones that didn't buy Bitcoin. Guys, if you have Bitcoin and you want to live on it, if you want to use it, that's all up to you. Your strategy: stack, or stack, and maybe stack some to use, or maybe stack, and the fiat that you want to spend is fiat, maybe dump it into Bitcoin, and when you need to use it, you pull it out and you use it because it's now maybe possibly increased value. Maybe. But there's an easy way to do it. There's an easy way to do it with Fold now. Fold introduced this week that you can send Bitcoin to your Fold account, then use it to purchase gift cards or purchase or use with your debit card. So if you don't use Fold, just so you know, I'm pushing up on 3 million sats rewards since I started using Fold, and you can get Fold rewards by using your debit card and buying gift cards using the Fold app. There's a link in the video description and the audio description. Scroll down, use it. If you get it signed up and you end up sending Bitcoin to your Fold account in the month of November, you'll get an extra 100 spins in the Fold app. Sorry, Chris and Canadian, that's not available up there in Canada. You guys got your Shake Pay. Every morning I shake my phone to get my Bitcoin. Chris, do you prefer shaking your Shake Pay in the morning or shaking it in the evening? Or are you allowed to shake it in both the morning and the evening? Chris Dixon, that reminds me I got to shake my phone. Got a little pent up. I got some pent up sats I got to release. If you don't shake your phone for a couple days and then you shake it, do you get more sats out? I got to get out of here, guys. We're going to wrap it up. Corey and I actually decided last night I'm not going to go do laundry. Chris shakes his phone whatever the fuck he wants. Do you ever do you ever take a part in No Shake November? Do you guys know that's a thing? NNN, triple N. You know what that is? No Cashew November. No Pecan November. No Pecan November. No Peanut November minus the P. That December 1st is going to be a mess. Stock up on tissues for December 1st. Corey and I decided I'm not going to do laundry and groceries today, that we're going to go on a date tomorrow. We're going to have a romantic adult date where we go and do laundry and get groceries and get lunch together. We might hit Home Depot, Bed Bath & Beyond, depending. Might be too busy. I don't know. We'll find out. This would be a crazy day. Probably come home and watch some Jamie Davis towing or possibly a movie. We watched Silence of the Lambs last night. Always classic from 1991. It's going to be a good weekend. The excitement. All right, guys, got to get out of here. Good morning over there, Jim. Thanks for stopping in. You made it right as we're wrapping up. Chris Dixon says, I've been married for 30 years. Triple N is just life. You could take the matter into your own hands, Chris. You are an adult. Maybe. We're not sure. We haven't been able to tell yet. We're going to wrap it up. Guys, I appreciate you hanging out. If you, like I said, if you got show topics you want to talk about, you got articles, links, things like that, don't send me any fucking porn or dick pics or anything. I've seen them all. I've seen all the dicks in the world. No need to send me any dick pics. But if there's a nice rack out there you want to send me, morning show at thelotsproject.com. You can send it over there. Be sure to check out the video description for links to Fold, to my buddy Sensei Scramblin's albums over on Wavelake. You can check out his music. And if you feel like rewarding value for value, you can drop some sats on them. And what else? I don't know. There's other links down in there. Be sure you like the morning show. Subscribe to the morning show channel, the new one. We got another week of dual episodes, and then we'll be rolling only on the new channel. So hope you have an awesome weekend, guys. You get shit done, you relax, you do whatever you got to do to get it done, to make it right and to make your life happy and better and exciting. So Thanks for watching this week and tuning in, and we will be back and talk to you on Monday.